Good Shabbos again, everyone, and Chodesh Tov, and Happy Hanukkah. Every year during football season, I bring my two sons to a Dallas Cowboys road game. And 2 weeks ago, we went to Kansas City for the night. The Cowboys played awful, and the Chiefs easily won. I know a big Cowboys loss won't create a lot of sympathy around here. The next day, we had a very early morning flight to return to Texas. And when we arrived at the lot to return our car, it was dark and bitterly cold. And we were tired and still in a rotten mood because our team had played so badly. We were not happy. And that's when we saw a little bit of light. We boarded the rent-a-car shuttle to take us to the terminal, and the driver came off, helping everyone with their luggage. He then proceeded to look after everyone, checking out our flights, making sure we didn't leave anything in our cars, asking us about our trip to Kansas City. He then began telling jokes, not cheesy jokes, but good ones, making us all laugh. He even talked about how excited he was to take us to the terminal. He was the happiest, kindest, most helpful person I had ever seen at 5:30 in the morning. There was no way anyone could get off that rent-a-car shuttle without feeling better. I was in awe. I thought to myself, how does this guy do it? Day in and day out. Someone even asked him, "How are you in such a good mood?" He responded, "I am blessed." He said he was blessed. But I believe we were all fortunate to make that ride with him. It was cold and dark outside, but he created a lot of light inside that shuttle bus. How are there people like this driver? Deep down, I believe we all want to do more, but how often do we try? There's so much tragedy and negativity that surrounds us. At times, it seems that a reign of despair has overwhelmed us. And we ask ourselves, why make the effort? And we also struggle with our own personal challenges. We tell ourselves, we're just too busy. Those voices, those feelings, that's the Yetzer Hara, our evil impulses, telling us, don't get involved. Don't get too involved. Not even trying. Don't even try to make a difference. But that feeling you have to do more, that you know you can make a difference, that's the spark of God inside of you, speaking to you, trying to come out more often. The book of Proverbs tells us, Ner Adonai Nishmat Adam, that the spark of God is the soul of a person. In Yiddish, it's described as a pintele yid, or Jewish spark, which reflects the eternal Jewish belief that in all of us, there is a fire waiting to be ignited. Yes, each of us has the opportunity to tend to our godly sparks. In a world darkened by pessimism and fear, you can be the conduit to ignite the lights of love, grace, and goodness. And by doing so, you only gain. Because the beauty is when your candle is lit and you light someone else's, it doesn't diminish what you already have. You can pass it on without losing anything at all. Yes, there are times I'm able to share the light God has given me, but sometimes I wonder, am I doing enough? Is my Yetzer Hara, my evil impulse, keeping me from doing more? I recently learned something new about Hanukkah that is helping me this year. But first, let me take us back a few months ago to Yom Kippur. People often ask me, Rabbi, what does God ultimately want from me? And I especially get this question around the high holidays. People are looking for ways to be forgiven by God, to be inscribed in the metaphorical book of life. That's why at Ne'ilah, the last service before the conclusion of Yom Kippur, we stand the entire time before the open ark. We're hoping to get in before the gates of heaven close, before God's judgment is sealed. But the Hasidic masters of our tradition extend that Yom Kippur deadline. They believe that God's mercy extended much further until the final day of Hanukkah. The last day of Hanukkah, according to them, is its own celebration called Zot Hanukkah, meaning this Hanukkah. This Sunday night and Monday is the 8th day of Hanukkah, and we have, according to the Hasidic masters, until this day, this Hanukkah, to return to God and receive a favorable decision. And if you think about it, this makes a lot more sense. After a long autumn of work and school, the grind of daily life, it's easy to forget the people we meant to be when Yom Kippur ended a few short months ago. Have you been putting into practice the resolutions you made? And now, at the darkest time of the year, in the shortest days, as we're in the midst of our normal daily routines, Hanukkah arrives and says to each of us, during this holiday of light, have you been a source of light for others? And if not, the Hanukkah lights during this festival of light perhaps can be the inspiration you need to bring more of your light into this world. Because when we light the Shabbat candles every Friday night, they're meant to illuminate and enhance our Shabbat dinners, to light up our homes. But the Hanukkah lights are different. They're not meant to illuminate anything on the outside. Rather, we light the Hanukkah candles with the hope that the light of our Hanukkah menorahs kindles the light inside of us. Tapping into the depth within ourselves that is connected to our deepest essence, to that Pintele Yid, to that godly spark inside that can truly shine. And then, the hope is, during Hanukkah, we're re-inspired to express that light to the world through our actions, creating a light that spread limitlessly like miracles themselves. Each night of Hanukkah, can we look at the candles as inspiration to make each moment, even those that seem dark and cold, pregnant with light and the warmth of divine activity? This Hanukkah, before the end of Zot Hanukkah, the 8th day of Hanukkah, before our final judgments are sealed, let's ask ourselves honestly, if you own your own business, is your company doing enough this year for your employees and their families? If you're a lawyer, have you doing more to help those who can't afford your services? If you're a stay-at-home parent, are you volunteering more this year than last year for others who are in need? If you're a middle school student, are you looking out for those who are alone, sitting with them, befriending those who have no one? No matter who you are and what you do, Hanukkah says to each of us, are you doing more of what God really needs from you and only you can do? Because that is the ultimate Jewish calling. And that's how God judges us into the final day of Hanukkah. Because by spreading our individual radiance, whether it's school, a courtroom, a hospital, a soup kitchen, in our homes, or anywhere we engage with Olam Hazeh, with this world, we increase the brightness and brilliance of our worlds. Yes, it's really not that complicated. That's what God needs from us, from every single one of us. You don't have to change the world. You just have to bring more of your godly light into this world. And I find this idea empowering. Every one of us, no matter our age, no matter our occupation, no matter our stage in life, Whether we are 13 or 93, we all have such great potential. No matter who you are, your life can be a sacred one. Now, as we approach the end of Hanukkah, Zot Hanukkah, this Hanukkah, God is asking you, will you bring more of your light into a world that needs it more than ever? Hanukkah Sameach and Shabbat Shalom.